Use test. Mazda MX-5 vs Toyota GT86. The contenders. Mazda MX-5 2.0 160 SEL nav. List price when new £20,695. Price today £15,000. Available from 2015 present. The MX-5 offers great performance, ride and handling, as well as low running costs. Toyota GT86 2.0 D4S. List price when new £25,000. Price today £16,000. Available from 2012 present. Not as cheap to buy or run as the MX-5, but fantastic to drive and more practical, too. Price today is based on a 2015 model with average mileage and full service history, correct at time of writing. Summer is here. Or, to be more precise, summer isn't that far away, although, given some of the weather we've had in the UK lately, you would be forgiven for thinking it had arrived prematurely. And along with the images of pub gardens, sunset barbecues and days at the beach that come with the season, thoughts are also turning to sports cars of the sort that may provide a spot of summer fun in the country lanes. Buyers looking for such a thing on the used market have long had their heads turned by the Mazda MX-5. Economical, reliable and usable, and yet immense fun to drive. The MX-5 returned to its roots with the arrival of the fourth generation in 2015, which was smaller and lighter than its predecessor. The MX-5 has always been cheap, too, and this model is now becoming available with reasonable miles for less than £15,000, putting it within reach of a vast tract of buyers. It'll cost you a little more cash to get into a Toyota GT86 of the same age as the earliest MK4 MX-5s. Expect to pay around £16,000 for a 3-year-old example with around 30,000 miles, but it has its own advantages. For starters, at this age the GT86 will have 2 years remaining on its warranty. The MX-5s will have expired. What's more, there's the security of a hardtop, a more powerful engine and a sharper drive. Does that make the GT86 worth the extra lay? Time to find out. What are they like to drive? Both have 4-cylinder 2.0-liter engines, but there are differences. The GT86's motor sits slower in the car for a better center of gravity and develops an extra 40 bhp. However, the MX-5 is a fair bit lighter, helping to give the car the edge for straight-line performance. On a wet track, the MX-5 slithered away from a standstill to hit 60 miles per hour in an impressive 7.6 seconds. On paper, that's not much faster than the GT86, but the MX-5 feels like a considerably quicker car. That's because when you put your foot down its engine starts pulling strongly from 1,500 revolutions per minute all the way to the red line. The GT86 doesn't start to rouse itself until 2,500 revolutions per minute and is only fully awake at 4,500 revolutions per minute. As a result, you find yourself changing down more often and revving the engine harder to get the best out of it. Sadly, the GT86's engine doesn't sound very good when pushed, emitting a gravelly, uninspiring whine. The MX-5 soundtrack is far more pleasant and encourages you to put your foot down at every available opportunity. The MX-5 has an excellent 6-speed gearbox, too. The stubby lever feels delightful and, as you grab each gear, the slick action has the mechanical precision of a Swiss timepiece. The GT86's lever is longer and the shift is notchier, although it's far from unpleasant. Both cars are supremely rewarding to drive quickly. Their lightness makes them seriously nimble, so when you turn into a corner they respond immediately. There's marginally more feedback through the GT86's steering, giving you a slightly better connection with the front wheels. However, the differences are small, and the MX-5 steering is hard to fault for accuracy. The GT86 is also better tied down, staying fairly flat through bends, while the MX-5 leans more as you turn in. Both feel beautifully balanced, though, with skinny tires allowing you to exploit their playful handling at sensible speeds. Sure, Plenty of hot hatchbacks offer more grip, more performance and more stopping power, but few can match the driving pleasure of these two lightweight sports cars. It's also surprising how well they ride given their sporting pretensions. Both soak up bumps without ever becoming uncomfortable. The softer suspension in the MX-5 delivers the better all-round comfort, though. You still feel the umps as they pass beneath the car, but in a slightly less aggressive fashion. The GT86 has the noisier engine but, with its soft top closed, the MX-5 suffers from a lot more wind noise at motorway speeds. You might have to turn the radio up a notch or two. However, drop the roof, a process that takes just a few seconds, and the MX-5 is pretty refined by convertible standards, with very little buffeting. What are they like inside? Dull drivers might find the MX-5 cramped, but everyone else will be perfectly comfortable. The seats are narrow but supportive, and while there's no reach adjustment for the steering wheel, the driving position is otherwise pretty good. The GT86 feels appreciably bigger inside and there's more adjustment in its driver's seat. The steering wheel adjusts for reach, too, and the seats also hold you in place better during hard cornering. Mind you, the MX-5 has the smarter interior. The GT86's cheaper-feeling dashboard plastics and low-rent LCD displays make it feel like a throwback to the 1980s. By contrast, the MX-5 feels thoroughly modern inside, with good ergonomics. SEL-nav trim adds an excellent sat-nav to the infotainment system, which is controlled by a rotary dial between the front seats. The touchscreen in the GT86 is nowhere near as slick. There's not much storage space in the MX-5. Unlike the Toyota, it lacks door bins or even a glove box. There is a small, lockable cubby between the two seats, with small storage spaces just behind them. While the MX-5 is strictly a two-seater, the GT86 will technically carry four. In reality, the back seats are better used as extra storage space, although a couple of small children will fit. That, and a decent-sized boot, make the GT86 a relatively practical proposition by sports car standards. The MX-5's pokey boot will only hold a couple of weekend bags, so be prepared to pack light. The MX-5 may be well priced but it's surprisingly well equipped, too, with sat-nav, climate control, LED headlights, Bluetooth, a digital radio, 17-in gunmetal grey alloy wheels and cruise control all standard. The GT86 does without the sat-nav, but it does at least get dual-zone climate control, cruise control and Bluetooth. A digital radio wasn't available as an option at the time the car we're testing was built, although this was added later, and Toyota will retrofit one to your older GT86 for £229. Our verdict. When these two cars were new, they were priced so far apart that it was very hard to recommend the Toyota GT86 over the Mazda MX-5. Now that they're a little older, the gap between the prices has narrowed, and that makes the GT86 far more tempting. After all, it has plenty to recommend. Not only is it the sharper, more focused car to drive, it also comes with the security of a metal roof and the added practicality of two rear seats and a larger boot. And let's not forget the standard extra couple of years warranty. That's almost enough to win it, but not quite. Were the GT86's interior smarter, perhaps, or the engine noise a little more appealing, that could have sealed the deal. But, as it is, the dashboard's plain unpleasant to look at, while the engine's rough and doesn't feel anywhere near as quick as it should given its power advantage over the MX-5's. Throw in the high running costs and it has to take second place here. The MX-5 isn't perfect, mind you. What it really lacks is space and storage, both inside and in the boot. It's also rather noisy with the roof up hand. Ultimately, it can't quite boast the feel of the GT86 on the back road. But for all but the keenest drivers, the difference will rarely be felt. What's more, the MX-5 has the sweeter engine and by far the smarter interior. It also gives you the flexibility of taking the roof down when the sun's out, plus it's better equipped. All this, and it costs less to buy and to run. In short, it's still a winner.